Welcome back to shooting out the Tesla. Hopefully, I don't press any buttons I don't want to press. Let's use. Okay. Just gotta use that young manual focus. Uh, uh. Green dots, green dots, green dots. Oh, okay. The eye is hopefully in focus. All right, welcome back. It's been a minute. As you can see, I got new audio. Yes, you can't see it, but it is what it is. Just redundancy audio. Anyway, yeah, I've been too busy with real life. It's crazy because I just started reshooting photos again, and I got into a bunch of gigs, just some local stuff around me, and it's pretty fun. Like I'm nailing shots, you know. Ever since I got the Zeiss 135, it's amazing Sony lens, use baby. Heavy as heck, but it is an awesome machine, awesome tool, and uh, yeah, I just been shooting a lot of photos. I had a bunch of gigs, just there was some graduation shots, corporate shots, some just people want portraits of stuff, babies, whatever, that kind of stuff around my area. And now because I can only handle with a full-time job, I can only handle like two gigs a month, 3 gigs at most. So it's like every other week because I also edit myself. Maybe I should have someone else edit, but I think some people just lack the mindset of editing. That's why we're here learning how to edit with the fellow Teslian. So welcome to Shooting Out the Tesla, episode 3 of the edits. As you can see, this is Shenandoah mountain. This is during sunset. Let's pull up the photo. And check out the metadata. Check that out. All right, so of course we shot this in RAW, 6018 by 4024, 72 DPI, 24-bit. On a 50mm f/22, 1/15 of a second, ISO 50 because it is very bright. It's sunset, so the sunrise, sunset are the most sunlight you'll get, but the highest point of sunset is like, I don't know, 1 p.m. or 12 o'clock, 2 p.m. I don't know. It's different wherever you're at. But sunrise and sunset is generally the most sun you'll receive because of whatever physics of our world. And the great thing about shooting, I don't know if it goes with the other raw files, but you can actually, this is the final product, and then this is the as shot version. So this is straight out of the camera. Looks already wonderful as is. Capture some motion. You get a little motion from the fog. You get the clouds coming in, pretty detailed, I'd say. Or at least you see the depth of the clouds from far away. You get a nice tree over here, some still life. Then you get the sun, super bright. And then, of course, the green on the bottom. And then you get this beautiful lake. This is the lake that really maybe is the money shot part. Um, we'll clean it up, of course. And then you can see it's like very miniature cities, but of course, there's like cities or whatever. And then the little reflections of water alongside the lake. So it's a excellent spot, especially during sunset. Highly recommend it if you ever go to the Virginia Shenandoah. Uh, and then because earlier I was trying to do some shots with I was trying to do the shots like essentially using the reflection of the water nearby. There was like little small pools. I assumed it just rained or something. It did well. It did rain later that night as well. So I did try again, but to no avail because I think I'm actually at the limitations of my camera. Like I keep when I was shooting the shots of just like I tried to want to get some fun photos from things like just the lighting scenario or uh just the fast action. And I think I am just severely limited to that, which is it's not the end of the world, of course. Um, but it's like one of those things where I could have, like I could have, I could have done a better job, I'd say. But I mean, it is what it is. Like sometimes you're just like you have to freeze that moment, and some of those moments can't be frozen because like it's just how it is, really. Like you only have so much finite of time to shoot, and yeah, I just it's like I don't want it to spend too much time, um, of the shoot. But yeah. So let's get to it. Let me pull out and let me pull out the. I also did re-edit this photo because I don't know, just for funsies. But we'll just do this edit, and then we'll just save it as something else, of course. Um, let's quickly save as edit. Do oh, there's already a two. Let's do three. So I'm just saving it so I don't overwrite the original file. But I mean, you'll see the as shot version every single time anyway, versus the current version. I don't know how it works for the other ones, but okay. So as you can see, this is the settings I use specifically, and I'll just go towards each reasoning. So this is done on the Sony imaging editing thing, whatever it's called, Sony IEDT. So free version, great Sony product. If you just want to output a bunch of photos without heavy editing, and it's free, so just can't complain about free. So let's go to the as shot version. I'm gonna set this as my current version in the version stack. I think that's how you do it, right? Uh, wait, why isn't it letting me? Oh, create new version. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. There it is. Okay. Create new version. Okay. So I'll just create a new version. Of course, the later version is like 2 months ago. Wow. Wow. Only 2 months ago. Wow. It feels like time is flying so fast. I don't know what's. Anyway, let's go. So you might be thinking, why did I go F22? Well, let's lower the shading compensation. Let's improve the noise reduction to the max because we're always going to be limited by the noise reduction, even though it's 50 ISO. It doesn't hurt. I think it just, I mean, before when this camera was out, like you would have been limited by your computer. So if you had a bad computer, it would have taken longer, I guess, to do these computations. Let's up the young clarity because, yeah, it's a beautiful image. We want to see more of it. And then this is the derange optimizer to the max because it does help with how deep your image goes. As you see with the car image, it's not really deep. I mean, you could say it goes deep with the lighting or whatever, but it's still not too deep. But So the D range doesn't really matter too much. The D range optimizer. I'd say it is heavily required if you take landscape photos because it does bring up a lot of what's around the image, and I think it's just a better look. I think it does. It does get really bright, but you gotta, then you turn it down a bit. Okay, and then we'll go to this. I brought up I brought up the brightness to 2.67, 2/3, and then um let's see what let's go to these things first. We did the creative style at the end, so contrast 60 negative hundreds, 60 negative hundreds, and I mean you can go wild with the contrast because this is just an image of light. So I mean we can negative. Do you see that? It just the contrast between the lines. So maybe we can go 100. Why not? Um, let's see. Okay, that's done with the contrast edit. um, clarity 90. I should have maybe, I don't know. Who cares? Do any color? 10 and 20. So the 10 and 20. Because I think it's just so you don't get too much, like you don't want to make it look too unnatural. Saturation is the best suited for non living objects, non moving objects. Just because the color just looks more fun. I don't know. This photography, you want to take some fun edits, or else I don't know. Unless you're doing something scientific. Um, we'll really discuss the sharpness and stuff settings in a bit. And then I think contrast. Okay, yeah, I should go over the highlights and contrast section of why I chose that. And then deep, and then we'll just play around with the gray point. Okay, so the camera setting is deep because I think it just looks better. Just how the lighting goes, just to really make the sunbeams pop out a bit more. And then the last thing we got to do is specify the gray point. But let's go back to okay. Let's go. Well, okay. So we'll go over the contrast. So I choose to go 100% contrast due to there's a lot of, I would say if you look at the color blending, it's green, blue, white, yellow, gray. So if you put that on a palette, like a painter palette, it's on the cooler side, except for the yellow part. So I guess that is like the punch in the differentiation of color and the composition. And you got to realize, what is the highlights? I mean, the highlights, I put this down at 0 due to, the contrast is 100 because there's just like, the only thing that's extremely different is the yellow part. So the contrast won't be too washed out if you go 100%. Plus, you're not going here for the micro details, right? Even if you go to the micro details, it's like it's kind of, I'd say it's a charming color look, just because of, I think that's just the lens. But yeah, you get the miniature look. So okay, even though it's not very very detailed, it just, the contrast has a lot of look to it that I think I just like the unique look of it, because it's just like, it looks like a miniature village type of thing. Like miniscaping, whatever, like, the macro little tiny villages that people can create. And then I turn down the highlights all the way down because as you can see, the highlights is what? The bright sun. So anything that is just overexposed, you got to bring it down. You could also bring down the whites, but that doesn't really work for this scenario. The shadows, I leave it at how it is. Again, the shadows, I think it's like you want to work with the shadows. Too much changing the shadows. I mean, you can up a bit or down a bit. Maybe for the sake of this video, I'll just down it a bit. And then the black colors is just gonna really emphasize more of the shadows. So unless you should change the shadows more versus the blacks just because of the thing. And then the fade is, you don't really need that. That's like just want a vintage look, I guess. I don't know. So we're done with the contrast settings. The color correction, don't touch that, I think, because the color is the most important thing. You gotta realize what is the order of importance in the photo. And I'd say the color and the composition. Of course, composition you can't change anymore, but the color of this photo and then the action in the photo, so the clouds moving and stuff, it would be the most thing. If possible, I would have taken this at a higher shutter speed if I had to redo this photo. Like, you don't even understand. People don't understand, right? That when you capture things in fast motion, you can have brighter detail. Like, this is so far away, the background, that, and then the thing that's most up close is the tree. So the tree won't move, right? Unless it's like a big storm or something that's really shaking the tree. But everything else, it won't really move. You can see that even the branches didn't really move. But yeah, this image isn't of the highest clarity. But it's more so of like, it just reminds you of you standing up top of the mountain. That's why I went with f22, because you don't need the clarity and it was too damn bright. So I had to go f22. Of course, it's like, oh, like I said, I could do their shutter speed, but I think it just looks much more pleasant. I did take this with the image stacking, the JPEG stacking thing, but I'd rather go with the f22 just because. And then, okay, we'll go to the sharpness section. Now, I went 100, negative, 100, 100. And so 100, negative, 100, 100. 100, negative. So you gotta realize, what is threshold? Threshold is what is the sharpness? Where do you want the sharpness at? So do you want the sharpness at the lowest point? So everything pretty much, because the threshold is just like smaller. Like it's like the threshold is like the fence you have to hop over. So for the light, if you're saying it hops over at the very smallest point, then everything, the entire photo will be sharpened. But if you just do the threshold as the highest, that means even the parts of the light bouncing will only be sharp. So like the sun touching related stuff. And the sun touching stuff is the light beams, the reflective of the water, and then the sun, of course. But there's no reason, like the sun making it more sharper isn't actually gonna make it more sharper. It's just because it's already too exposed. But for this image, I think it works fine with it overexposed. I don't know. It's hard to say, really, right? Because oh, I could have had an ND filter. Don't be lying to yourself. Like, ND filters are only good for like videographers. Uh, yeah. I mean, maybe I'll go into more video shooting. I don't know. And clarity at 100. So you do the overshoot because I think it looks better if you do the overshoot negative 100 and then undershoot above 100. You don't see too much of a difference, but it just has to do with just how long you took the shot. If I shot the photo faster, so overshoot, if I overshoot the timing, I go 100 and then negative undershoot. Um, it really just depends on what you want from the image. So I mean, it's just to look again. This is you're learning how to edit. You know, if you're not a native editor, like you're not um if you're here to learn or just educate yourself of how I edit my photos, then that's essentially what you're that's what I'm like putting the video information about. Just a really long 30-minute video of how I edit my photo. So that is just how I want to shoot it. So I go negative overshoot, 100% undershoot, 100 negative 100% overshoot, 100% undershoot. And then everything else seems fine. Let's see, did I do anything with the tone curves? I think, oh, okay, here it is. Yeah, so as you can see, the tone curve, let's see, the red, slightly at the red top, green underneath, and then blue underneath as well. And then the brightness, okay. So brightness top of it, red top, green underneath, and then the blue. And I think I'll go for this just to make it just a little bit different, but then bring down these parts so I can really focus on the highest points. So I think this image is fine. I can see that the light went down a bit. Oh, I put all the blues all the way down. Okay, I see that. See, it's very hard to. I don't know. It's hard to really. There it is. Okay. You have to really play with this stuff, because that's honestly the most difficult part about editing is like trying to find like the right balance on the tone curves. Um, if you go to super extreme, you can see okay this image it'll go ooh too much, but you can see that super straight up line that's just like out of the ordinary. That's the sun. So maybe go like there. It's not as definite because I'm gonna have to spend literally. That's like honestly the longest time you have to spend is playing around with the tone curve. This image, uh, you know, it's I would say that this is like your typical image. So if you want to take photos of sunset and then you want to edit that photo, I'd go for like these kind of settings just to start. Again, this is just a starting point for new editors that they have a camera now and they're still don't know how to edit, or because when you switch from a phone camera to a regular point shoot or big DSLR or mirrorless, um just the editing process, I guess, is the most daunting part because most people want to just slap on some simulations or filters, and I think it does work for sometimes. For the most part, for the most point, you choose to take it on a separate camera because you want to have the manipulation of colors, manipulation of the settings, more control of your image, so it can make it more real life or make it more of a mood. And when I see this image, I just think of like, oh, this is because this is like, of course, an upscale version of how, but when you are standing on top of the mountain, everything not is not in view, right? And but you do see the sunbeams, and I think that's like the main point. And you can see the sunbeams because it makes you just like, oh, that's cool. Like, this is you on top of a mountain. sunbeams, and it's like a faded little kind of like just dreamy look. It's just nice because yeah, when you're at the top of the mountain and you see this, you're like, oh, that's cool. And I took a picture of it. So this is a very doable picture, I'd say. I'd say like if you have a mountain nearby, you could easily do this. Now the most difficult part is like the stuff on the ground of the mountain, which is the pool reflection or the water reflections and stuff, the smoke in the clouds. That's I think that's like the point. So if I had to redo this image, I would hit it at a much faster shutter timing. But that's like it's like you have to go out there every night at sunset and take a photo every single time, which is if you live nearby, it's doable. But I took this photo. I drove full battery back a round trip on the Tesla Model 3 2019 and I didn't have to recharge it. So like it's within my grasp to like, oh, I can go take a photo of it every night if I wanted to, but it's not be too much effort on my end, right? Of course the car's driving itself. But again, if you live nearby to the mountainside and you just want to get some cool photos, this is the perfect thing to take, And then I shot this I was climbing some rocks just so I can get the perfect view of the tree. I do have the 20 millimeter and then the 135. If I shot it with the 20 millimeter, it would have been too far, I think. I think an 85 millimeter would have been great as well. There's the 85 1.4 Zeiss. The 20 mil would have had a wider background, I think, but for what it is, this is a fast shot, and I had this at f22, so the f-stop don't matter on this thing. And I think the main point is that anyone can take this photo. You just got to have the right mindset. And you can't, not every day is going to be a magical shot. Like this has just happened to be the day that I went take some photos. I'm going to be taking some more moon photos. I need to go back when it's a full moon up there. And that'd be the next. Well, I wouldn't say it'd be the next image. The next image photo set will be stuff of I think. Will I do fast action stuff? No, I don't think so. But the next images I'll take, I guess, is because this it's very capable. Like I can get more details from the clouds if I had a faster shutter timing. But I think it is really limited of my machine. Of course, you can say, oh, you got to work around your machine. Yes, but there comes to be issues when you start putting your cameras to the extreme. And I am using mechanical shutter for everything, whatever. But again, we'll get to that point. Maybe, who knows? Maybe I'll get a new camera. I did get a lot of gigs, so it's possible. Thanks for waiting. I guess it's been a month or something since I've last video, but yeah, thanks for shooting out the Tesla, editing out the Tesla. Maybe we'll do some video. I have so much content that I have unedited that I should edit. But anyway, thanks for watching this video.